Hey everyone, how's it going today? Back again, work on this alien base a bit more. I know it's probably getting a little boring to watch, it's just taking a long time. I wanted to bring a couple other things too, and one thing I forgot to show in the last video, I just wanted to show you real quick, and it has to do with texturing. For instance, on this Creel Gast, and I think that's the final name I was going to call it. Um, I have a lot of, straight up smooth textures on this, and it's doing a lot of different color fades, which I think is kind of cool because it gives it a little bit of a, I don't know, difference in color tones, and a lot of it was just trying to get a lot more detail into it. But when I was building this, I was definitely checking into some other textures I never used before to see how they would work out. For instance, on page 2 here, there's these over here, and well, a couple of these could look alien. Like ultimately what I wanted was some kind of scaly metal. Um, and so I was thinking, well, this isn't too far off from that, so maybe this is a good idea. So let me just show you what happens if I do texture this ship with that. And I'm just going to replace all the flat right now with it and show you what happens. Well, this is what happens, and the reason why this can't work is because of the white lines. When you run a darker color on this, it shows all the white border lines across, and I think that looks terrible. So can't use it. Same thing goes on with this one, even worse, where it's, I mean, if these lines would all color so I could tint them relatively the same, it would look kind of neat. You'd look closely at the surface and you would see that there's some kind of texture in there. But yeah, at this state, can't do it. Just it totally ruins the look of it. This one also has that problem. And this one I thought would have been kind of neat too, because it's a little bit glossy. But all these textures with the white lines in there, I just can't do anything with. Not if it's darker. Now, if the ship was white, it wouldn't look bad. But I mean, these are all different shades of purple, and this is what you get. You get a gray. So that I just wanted to show you that, and that is exactly why the ship has remained like this, because I can't find another option out there. Nothing that seems to work. And the textures I do pick, besides a couple that I use sparingly, typically color the same. So you can see, they don't have too much of the white going on. Even these have a little bit of the white in there. This one doesn't though, so it colors nicely. And that is ultimately why I went with the textures that I did on this ship, or this whole theme. And I mean, I would like to use more textures, but there's just really nothing else I can use. And I was trying to get away from using the textures that I've used on all my other builds, like this and this. I mean, these are two primary textures I use a lot, and these new ships don't use these at all. And that was purely trying to make them look different so they didn't look like the same thing. Just another couple updates on this miner. It was in the comments it was said that I don't need to have a clone generator and a med station, and I know that is the case for bases and CVs, but I just wanted to confirm before I make modifications to this, is that the case also for HVs? Because I don't know how you could spawn from this. It's not the right size to be spawning out of. So before I just wanted to confirm that if anybody has a definite answer on whether I need this and this for an HV or just this, I would really want to, I just want to confirm that. If that's the case, that's great, because I will add in some more storage and increase the salvaging boxes, or harvesting boxes, I'm sorry. So that's kind of that. One last thing before I move on is I did make more modifications to this tank. Kind of redid a little bit of the back side of this and changed a few things, kind of straightened this out a little bit. In the process of changing the top, I added 2 more turret mount positions. Now this runs the maximum amount of guns allowed, plus has a multi-turret. Um, I'm not going to put any mining on this one though. It's a tank. It doesn't mine really. It's got the harvesters only to get through trees. And I guess if you're out and about, you can chop down the trees. You can have that go into a constructor, and you can start turning it into biofuel. So it's practical. And geez, there we go. Back on this. Now, I was looking at this some more, and I'm trying to get down some of the key aspects that I'm using on the smaller ships. And one is kind of this ribcage pattern thing, or this area that I got going on back here, and then again on this one, a little bit different, but same idea. And I was thinking, how could I get something like that on this base to get it looking right? And right now what I'm thinking about is these solar panels, and that's another thing too. I'm struggling with the hangar doors because they don't look themed, and of course I can make them darker and it'll probably fit. But I was debating whether or not to not have hangar doors and instead use a force field to get in and out. Now that would actually move the level of this base up higher, or a player unlock level a little bit. And I don't know. You know, it's a debate. I'll have to think about that one. If anybody's got an opinion on that, that'd be awesome. But for now, what I was thinking about doing is really trying to hit the solar panel area and try to come up with a theme so it kind of looks like there's like a bones or like some kind of rib cage going over at least this side of the base. And I got an idea for that, but I pretty much got to remove what I already put here, unfortunately. One of the things was I would like to find and move these solar panels down another row, and actually, which is fine because these hangar doors are so tall that I'm not blocking any space getting into the hangar doors, and I think this would actually work out better. And then that allows me to expand out this area a little bit more and try to come up with something that kind of swoops down and maybe kind of angles into a sharp edge, I guess. So I'm going to try that real quick, because basically I just want to make sure that this thing can stay in theme despite it being a very different shape. So in the other ones I kind of ran something like this. Now let's see if I don't want to go down too far here. So I'm just curious if you can kind of see what I'm trying to get at here or not. But it's a little... So basically, if I make one of these, I could probably copy this 6 more times, because both sides actually have the same thing going on. So I think before I even move on, I would probably texture this once I get it to a point where I like it at least. And now what it's going to need is, oops, is those the colored lights in here. Some of the top ones, I think I could again remove those, pop in these alternatives. Have that look going on. Not really liking the sharpness here though. Maybe I should have just kept that. Oh yeah, you know what? How about change this a little bit and I use these really thin ones here. Like that maybe. And then change the front one so they got a bit of a lip. Yeah, I think that is more fitting to what's going on. Now, it was also brought up too that, you know, exposing missing blocks and things like that. And there is a particular block that, a couple of them that I really think are missing. And it has to do with this set here. Basically, I know I brought this up before. You see how there's this double wall in there, but they're full wall size. I think it would be very useful to have a half wall and a wall and a very thin wall of the same type, just like this, very easy to make, but matching the height of this and the height of this here. Because what happens, like say for instance, if I wanted to run this in again, which I actually kind of do, I got no block I can put here at all short of just a regular half block. There's nothing else that works there. So that's kind of what I've been doing with this, but I would have preferred to have this cut out in the center and match the same angles over there, or the same walls. But that's just not an option, not anything I can really do at this time. So that is definitely a block that I think the game could really stand. It's like it's missing from that set. Just my opinion. I know you can get around with it, and there's also these other blocks, like this and whatnot. The problem with these is they're full block height, so I can't use that either. And then there's some of these here, which are pretty trippy. I got to come up with neat uses for these someday if I come across something that could benefit from that. All right. Well, anyway, what's kind of neat about this, though, if I ran this part like it is, I could actually keep the floor at this level here now and don't have to raise it up a block. Little things like that would be kind of nice, because obviously I don't want to use more blocks than I have to make it more expensive. In this alien theme stuff, though, I mean, they are going to be a little more expensive than what could be done because of all the funkiness going on purpose. But it's a style thing. As long as I can get it to work pretty good. In fact, I would like this to have the same functional potential as like the Sanctum installation. That's kind of my goal. It's not quite as big as the Sanctum installation, but the Sanctum's was a pretty good sized player base. But yeah, okay. Anyway, I'll shut up on that and get going. But I think this is better. It's kind of weird. Got a wavy thing going on now. So I'm going to texture this, and then I'm going to copy this around to the other locations that it's going to want to go on. The only thing, though, in the process of doing this, I lost my... I wanted the 2 light bar thing going on so it matches. So I'm thinking I'm going to have to remove that one as well and replace it with another one of these. The only thing I don't like is this clunky blockness over this way. Clunky blockness. Yeah, that's what it is. Okay, well, this will work though, I think. Let's get this textured up. I think I already have Oh, and also on the new tool, it was brought up that, yeah, it's fixed. I checked that out. It kind of is, and then it kind of isn't fixed. I'm going to try to use it, and I'll see if it screws up on me the way I think it's going to. Now, right now, so we got color off, we got textures off. I want to set the textures to, oh, shoot. One sec, one sec. I got to do this with carbon substrate where I don't get the lights I'm looking for. Okay. Okay, so everything's working fine now. And I will just keep on going with that for a second here. At least on concrete, I can still use this texture, which is helpful. But I don't have access to that other texture I was using. Oh well. Also don't have smooth metal. So instead I've been using this carpet. And what could I put in the seams here? I might try to incorporate this texture too because of its color and whatnot. I think this could look kind of alien. And it colors nicely, so it stays dark. The problem with this one is you can't make it light. Here, so watch this now. So what happened to my tools? Oh, wrong tool. Okay, so back to the color tool here. Oh man, I didn't even use it. Whoops. All right. Well, anyway, son of a gun. Okay, so we just textured that with that, and now I want to change the color only. So I select this, so I'm getting rid of the texture, and I want my color to be, say, this here. And watch what happens. It resets the texture back to the default concrete. So no, it's not fixed. It's got the same problem it had before, which makes it kind of unusable. So I don't have the option to recolorize something without resetting the texture, unless I'm doing something wrong, but I don't know what I'm doing wrong. So by reading this, I would say that this texture should be off and color should be on, and it should not do that, but it does. So it clears the texture and goes back to default material using this option. And there is no option to not have it do anything with the texture at all when you're coloring. So that's why I tried it out and I went right back to the old tools again. This just doesn't work out. Alright. So yeah, I'm going to definitely have to use something like this texture in this base because I'm not going to have enough textures available to do it and match the theme perfectly. Unless I go to a lot of carbon substrate. I'm not ruling that out either. In fact, I think I'm going to replace this block also with carbon substrate. So I can place on this texture. Which I do use a lot of on these alien builds here. I also used a lot of the vents and stuff too. but that's not really an option anymore either. Okay, so that's mostly textured. Let's see how we can blend this stuff together here. Start with the easy stuff. And then the side walls. I'm going to try to do the fade scheme, but it's going to be a little funky, I think. Fade scheme meaning basically I've got this, and this. And this is like the base color, and these are three darker, slightly darker shades. So what I've been doing is at the tips of this style, at least, I've been going with the darkest shade, and it makes a hardly any difference at all. And then I go up into here. But the problem is this particular texture textures lighter than what the metal does. Of course, it also loses the glossiness. So my solution for this would be to come up with another color that matches. So what I'm going to do first is we've got this, I'm going to color this with just the stock default color that I'm using right now. And then we're going to copy that, and I'll paste it like next to it for now. I really should come up with like an order of how to lay these colors out so they're all nice and organized. But so what I want to do now is darken this tone so it matches that very closely. So I'm gonna just I'm trying to get it so I can see the seam when I'm doing it. There we go. So now we'll start raising or lowering this down. Oh, dumb. I didn't. Well, 1 second here. I gotta paint it with the right color. Okay. Try that again. Alright. So even though I darken this up quite a bit, it's still not dark enough. So we're at that level, but then it lost some saturation. Try to get a little of that back into it until it comes up to a pretty good match. It should be a little bit lighter than what that is. Something about like that. So now it doesn't stick out so badly at all. Same kind of trick was done to the darks and like the waypoint hanger to get them to match with the other types of textures. And then also on some of these vents too, I've been purposely making them kind of a little bit more of a lighter shade and a little bit grayer in the process. I mean, all this stuff really matters, though, this fine detail stuff. Otherwise, I just was not creating a look that really felt very good or looked very good in the past. Now, the last texture I want to try to mess with is this one. How can I get this texture to conform? Now, this is a very dark texture to start with. So if I use the base color on it, it just remains pretty much black. So I want to make another new alternative color for this one as well. Here, we'll copy that somewhere. I know I'm not going to be using this color at all. And in this case, okay, so let's first color it with that and try to get the view off to the side so I can see it. And this one needs to go up a lot in intensity or brightness. See if it makes much of a difference. Kind of is, yeah. See, I go about to there. So now that kind of matches correctly, and this whole area kind of colors right, even though I'm using totally different, well, a lot of different textures. And it's all needed to work out the theme. It's different doing a concrete base versus the SVs and HVs using steel. Alright, so this is in there. Since I'm going to copy this part, just taking a quick look to see if there's anything more I can add any detail to this with. And I do have one idea. I don't know how it's going to look. I got a little bit of substrate here, and I was kind of wondering if I shouldn't have some kind of lip like that on it. Problem is I can't do that lip on the bottom side. But, you know, I can, because that block's going away too, and we're going to be carbon substrate. I'll just keep this so it matches on the sides here, but then I can actually put in these here, which give it that kind of jagginess I was looking for. And actually, yeah, you know, that was the whole point of this, to do this. I'll keep that the same on the inside and color it again with my new shade. Not there. It's going to be so tricky to get right. I still don't have a perfect blend here. Alright. One more thing with carbon substrate, I guess. And I'll just texture this with plain steel on the sides now. Let's see, that should be the mid-tone. And those can be that. And the tips, just go with a dark on the tips. Alright. Yeah, I figured it was going to blow away the hanger door. That's alright, though. And because this is one part of the base that kind of matches from side to side. Yeah, I probably ought to copy it now. Oh, actually, yeah, it should stay down like it was. so this goes, it would have went right across the top of the hangar door, so that needs to go out one more to there. And copy and paste it again. Solar panels don't stay here, but get moved down a row. So the hangar doors in. That's the thing on hangar doors. I guess I'm going to try to keep on running the conventional ones versus the force fields. For now, they can always be changed out later. After doing all this, now I'm like looking at these bottom blocks thinking, hey, what was I thinking? Why don't I just have them come out from here? Uh-huh. Gonna make this work right. Okay, let's go get back into concrete. Or can I do something else here to make it really trippy? How about pipe? Okay, but I can't put anything right below the solar panels, so I guess that actually doesn't work. Shoot. I'll go in this way with it. Kind of, I don't mind it too much except for the edges here. Oh, shoot. So we can put something over this block here yet. Probably should have did all this the first time, huh? The heck, but I wanted to take a look at these to see if there's anything that could be used. Huh, like I kind of like that. Not that part of it, but oh yeah, you know what? Let's try that out. more sophisticated yet. Alright, and then also on the tips, should I run some kind of detail beam or something across here, or some kind of spikiness? Just going through a bunch of options. See if anything works right. So many options now, though. Gotta love it. So much stuff you can do with this. If it did a combination of two things. That doesn't look like it joins. So it looks like this would fall off. Alright. That. Might be able to deal with that. Let's try. And yeah, I guess on the standard of building, probably a lot of these blocks will end up getting replaced with carbon substrate, but the interior blocks, all the blocks that, you know, would be directly like this row here, those are going to stay concrete. Or, well, I'm thinking I'm probably going to do a block conversion on this, and I'll probably make them hardened concrete. I believe that's the right terminology for that. So it'll be fairly strong. Hardened concrete is the same strength as combat steel. But yeah, trying to find textures that work with everything that are different from what I used to use. Takes a little bit of time. But once you get the theme down and you know it, it's really going to pick up in speed when you start to do it. It's just it takes that initial time to figure it out and whatnot. This texture is pretty cool. I do like this one. I did use it a few times on the other ship, or the other items there, but I don't think it's appropriate to be on this strip here. That's really jaggy, so let's take the center two pieces and maybe just put them as regular steel. texture to use. Mess with that, see if I can get it colored correctly. To texture this with. Now with the other theme, I was using, again, this texture over here and this texture. So I got one of the two I can still use. Maybe I should just do it both that way. That looks all right. That's interesting looking. I fear I'm probably not going to get a lot done on this tutorial. Maybe tweak out one area, but I think I kind of wanted to do that to start establishing the look and theme before I went too much further. So I don't want to get in a situation where I got to change everything after the fact. I'd rather kind of know what's going on while I'm doing it. But it takes a long time to do this kind of thing. It really does. One more texture to figure out. How about just some of that? And actually, I got to get that lip over there too. We'll copy that. And some more coloring. I need it to be that shade. Oh, darn it. Okay, and then these pipes. I think we're going to go with this alt dark color. And put the same for that. And just regular old. this part here. What color should that be? No. Well, I could go with the dark on that. Got a little bit of purple going on. Or, yeah. All right. Now, let's just get this moved to the other side. It's like, since it's the same here, this is like actually symmetrical on this. Alright, so I think that's meeting the theme better now. And we got some solar panels in there, and we got the hangar ceiling back down to this height. So a few things were accomplished there, like that. Now, of course, with solar panels, it allows up to 15 of these, and there's currently 5 on this base, which is weak. But I do have another wall over here. In fact, if I do this right, maybe I can get the majority of other solar panels on this wall. And I wouldn't mind removing this one too. I really don't like where it's at. It's oddball, kind of weird there. So one thing I was kind of thinking about is doing a sloping, curvy, weird angle, holding solar panels coming off from this side of the base. Maybe go out a little bit further with it. And if I did it right, maybe I could get in almost 8 of these bigger solar panels, which would put me at a 12 count, which isn't so bad anymore. But, the only thing I fear, though, is I was trying to go all asymmetrical on this base, but yet it's conforming to symmetry around the hangar sides. Because it just makes sense, I guess, but I didn't really want that in the end. I don't know how else to do it right now. Well, let's start here. Let's first figure out the size of a solar panel. How many can I run across? How wide does it have to be to make this happen? I'm just going to put up a temporary row of blocks here so I can fit stuff a little bit. So that is the same solar panels I ran there. Why does it not seem like it is? I guess it is. It goes up a half block. Makes sense. So say we had one there. Can we get 3 across here? 3 with no in-between lines. fitting right now. Okay, so there's different angled solar panels as well. That could be a neat thing to do. Get a kind of a curve on this side maybe, and fit a lot of solar panels in. That might be a good thing. So that's 6, so that's 10 total. If I can get another 3 in here, I will be at 13. That's only 2 shy of maximum. And what's this last panel do? Okay, the last panel doesn't curve more. And I know none of these will work. I think I'd have to stay with that one. So, okay, if placed in this base, essentially this would be the spawn side that you see. So, if it was kind of angled towards the sun, yeah, I think that would pick up some pretty good solar. Still got 2 more optional, so maybe a couple on the tower yet, except this one's going to go away. Yeah, that's better. Feeling happier that getting all this little stuff worked out too. It takes a little bit to get it tweaked and happy. Alright, so next part is going to need some in-between pieces. So I only need to build one of these. I can copy this part again. Okay, they're actually indented a little bit. So and then we take a different angle here too. Man, I don't think there's an angle that matches that though. This one's going to be too sharp and the other one's going to go out too much. How about the center? It changes direction a little bit. It's going to go in too shallow over here. All right, something different on the side. A little bit different thinking. Let's get into wedges. Oh yeah, how about the new wedges? What can happen with this? I don't know what it is. This block I have such a hard time positioning. And it's really easy too. For some reason I just kind of forget what I'm doing. Okay, so they're going to be indented a little bit, but this needs to start curving down. So maybe a transition to these blocks. Well, that expanded this base, made it quite a bit bigger, which isn't a bad thing actually, because that'll allow the hangar to be bigger and have some offside parking spots for HVs or whatnot. So I'm not against that. So I think the shaping's better there too. Also, these corners would be a good spot to add in a couple, maybe a ground turret mount and an upper turret mount. Alright, so another thing is getting this front of the building right, and I want like a control tower alien face over here. I was thinking basically what I was looking on this first ship, this angle here coming up, and the way that was kind of meant to look is, if you remember like Aliens movies, their forehead, that they had their, the mouth and everything below that, but they had the really long head and a really creepy, that kind of went like a shape like this. And that's kind of what this part was modeled after. Now, I didn't do that with the tank, and I keep on wondering if I shouldn't change the front to have something more like what this ship has, like in this section where it has kind of a swooping single head rather than the two spikies on the side. But I didn't want everything to look the exact same, like that either. So, but I am thinking about that with this. Like, for instance, if say it lines up to this area here, if it kind of went up and had this swooping angle that kind of came over the front edge a little bit, I think that would look pretty cool. And that's, I think, the direction I'm going to go on that. But I got to like figure it out first on how it's all going to fit right. And how wide should it be? Thinking either 5 or 7 blocks. It's 7. If I start over here, tell you what, I'm just going to map this out temporarily here a minute and see how it can fit. Okay, so let's see the front. Here, we'll start swoop. Of course, I plan on rounding the sides off here too. I just kind of want to get a general thing. And that kind of contradicts this part here, which is fine. I don't know if I like that anyway. Alright, I'll start replacing some blocks now then. If this is going to be swoopy on the sides, I got to figure out how to build the curve right. Alright, we're going to have to use like 3 different types of angled blocks, I think. Excuse me. Been awfully congested lately. I don't know if it's allergies or what. Alright, so let's say on this row, 1 a series of these blocks. And then over here we switched over and went to these. Which is a little different angle. And then we're kind of getting that kind of rounded curve look. And that, I think, would be the right way to go. Yeah, I think I like that. Oh, let's even trip it out a little bit more. There's some weird alternative blocks of these that kind of go up at a slightly different angle, a little bit more roundy there. And then you've got the counterpart of this one with the flat edge. So it could like do something like that, giving it even more of a bit of a curve there. Alright, let's mimic it to the other side here a minute. And I think I went in 2. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. That's not what I did. Wrong one. Okay. Now with that. Yeah, kind of liking that. Let's to investigate to see if there's a way I can raise that up a little bit more. If not, add some, I don't know, some spikies or some like ridge lines up on the top there. That kind of keeps that uniform with this whole chunk here. And could probably actually pull this row back a little bit so it overhangs more over the landing pad area. Yeah, I think that's a shape I could go with there. And maybe round that off over here somehow. What do I get with this kind of block? Bricks are right there. Go to a different angle pattern again. really cool having all these options, I tell you. I wouldn't even think about doing half of this stuff in the past, but now I know I can kind of get away with it. Okay, so that doesn't quite line up, but what is it with this block that just totally screws me up? Ah. Try something even more strange. I don't know how that's going to work out though. Oh, man. Now I'm thinking, what if it kind of looked spiny here? Use something exotic like blocks like that to make this angle. Can that be done? Don't know if I like it. I think what the deal is that's too jagged there. What if I went with this? I'm going to use this on the other vehicles as well. What do I put in the middle of these? Hmm. Well, I think I actually got it right. I rotated the block correctly once. Oh my gosh. Excited. All right. Yeah, definitely trying to do some pretty wild shaping over here. Um, I think that'll be kind of neat too, because I think I can do some kind of like lighty accents or something in that area. Problem now is that side doesn't really line up with this unless I wanted to change that block out again, which I could do to leave this one again. No. That one. Okay. I think that's getting shaped up pretty good. I think it's got a good design pattern finally though, or better, I will say. And yeah, this part here is just probably gonna get changed around a lot. Probably ought to wrap up this tutorial again. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. It's getting really trippy and shapy, and obviously this has taken far longer than I thought it was going to take. But well, it's experimental. You know, it's really trying to do something different than the norm. If it was a typical architecture type of building like my past stuff, it would go quicker because I'd kind of know what I'm doing a little more. But on this, I'm winging it. But I think this will look pretty good now. I'm starting to feel more confident on it. Before I go, I just wanted to show you an update to this Combat CV. I know I've kind of put this off to the side for quite a while, but I got quite a bit more done on this ship, finally. And that's in this the hangar area now. It's pretty much done, except for sensors and LCDs. So it gives you a couple parking spots off to the side here. You got your repair. You have another fairly big parking spot over here. The crafting area is again a bit asymmetrical. It's this side over here where you have your A and B constructors has everything on it, including cooking, and also has ammo storage, which will be here, and then all your health and your oxygen and warp and armor repair, armor stations. Has a shield generator built into this section, and the other side contains the core, which is actually kind of tucked away over here right now, and some extra fuel and air, and another set of constructors and another storage area. Now the storage on this ship is kind of weird, as the ship is so close to 7500 CPU that I thought I'd keep it there. Don't mind that it's over right now. That's only because I filled in some blocks here. And essentially what I'm going to do for the player is this area here, going back to that point, will not have those in there. And then actually up in the ceiling above here, there's another... Oh, I filled those in too. Should have done that. Well, there's another 4 more cargo boxes or extensions up there that if you remove them all, then this complies to 7500 CPU. It didn't quite because I got 4 more of those boxes to remove. But I'm going to leave it kind of like a little opening over here, so if you want more storage on this side, you can easily dump in a bunch of just full cargo extension boxes and fill in the area. And there's going to be lots of places on this ship, especially in the front area, to add more fuel and things like that. It actually has a secondary place to add in a T3 generator if you need. And I might need to, before I release it, I don't know, I got to test this with shields and power and everything like that. I know that one of these does a really good job for this ship, and it might not need a second. but it has a home for it, and I don't really know what else to put in that area. Um, so yeah, this is it's getting there. It is definitely getting there. It looks pretty good at night too. I got the upstairs kind of plotted out how it was before, but I got to texture it and get these farms going and fill in this front room, this danger area here with something to look at, and try to leave a lot of room for additional parts. So you could really soup this thing up after the fact. But it's well on its way now, and I'm going to keep on trying to work on this much as I can and try to get this wrapped up this week or through this weekend, something like that. So, and then plan on releasing this ship next week. Probably next week, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, something like that. I'll be happy to have it done too. It's been taking me far too long, and I keep on getting sidetracked on other things. So I can't imagine why or how that happened. But anyway, y'all have a good day. Hope you enjoyed this video. See you later.